Hi, First Parish friends. So Sarah Klakowski, our wonderful colleague, was doing her sacred text class last week, and the conversation sort of came around to what is Lent? We're in the season that we call Lent, where we think back to Jesus's time of fasting, separating himself from society right before he began his ministry. But that's all great, but here and now, what does this season mean to us at First Parish in this community of such a broad spiritual background? And so Kit and I thought we would try to talk a little bit about what this season means for us today. I think a lot of us have this phrase associated with Lent of giving something up, giving something up in a small way. My best friend was Catholic growing up, and he gave up chocolate, and I remember he asked me what I was giving up, and I had never heard of Lent before, and so that was my first introduction to it. But as we've grown older, Kit and I have found something really valuable in that opportunity.
Yeah, and I do think in our, free-thinking religious tradition where we don't have compulsory spiritual practices, it can be sometimes a little daunting. Okay, so if nothing is required, what do I want to take on? And it's easy sometimes to just not get around to setting any intention. I know I will admit that this year I haven't gotten around to my specific Lenten spiritual practice. And so we just want to invite folks that, it's not too late. It's never too late. Mm-hmm. And in fact, Lent can be an opportunity to try on, experiment with a spiritual practice and see what happens. During seminary, I thought of Fridays in Lent as a kind of little Good Friday, which is comes out of a tradition. So it could be an opportunity to practice something like fasting or fasting from screens, or even a practice of silence for a certain number of hours in a day, something like that.
Another word that's important to me in this season of Lent is freedom. I think about Jesus' time in the wilderness as a time of finding freedom from the things he needed to set aside. And our guest preacher from a month ago, Celine Ibrahim, she came to us when she was right about to start the season of Ramadan, and it was kind of intimidating to talk to her, knowing the intense fasting that she was about to undertake. But I think, like you said, Kit, we can pick our own form, our own practice, our own formula for what we want to seek freedom from. If it's about giving something up, like screen time, or if it's about something we want to reach towards, that we want to put more of in our life, time spent outside, time spent in silence, time spent listening to music, time spent writing handwritten notes instead of sending emails. So that's our invitation here in the middle of Lent, when we may not have all made resolutions yet, but it's not too late.
And that then we can go into it with a spirit not of necessarily knowing where we're going to end up, but with curiosity, a sense of what might happen if I try this. How would this intention maybe change my attention to what I hold most dear, to the sense and the presence of the holy.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you soon.